This video is brought to you by the FarmerKlein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Saxthorpe Farms. But before that, this video is brought to you by Chad Bergman and Jolly Rancher. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Saxthorpe Farms map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now, as we can see from the preview picture here and from the image over on the Giants Mod Hub, this is the cross-play version, so it does sound like there will be a non-cross-play version coming for PC only. It looks like, based on the image from the Mod Hub version, that the non-crossplay version is going to include multi-terrain angles. It may include some other features, but it sounds like it'll definitely include multi-terrain angle. So if you're looking for additional terrain angles and you're on PC, then maybe hold out for that version of the map. But otherwise, this one should work just fine for you. Let's read a little bit of the description. Welcome to Saxthorpe Farms UK, based on a real-life location 5 miles north of Norwich. This map includes custom environment with crop counter for the area, 2 large customizable farms, 3 small farms, mostly customizable, 1 BGA, 1 gas station, 6 areas to buy and sell productions, 44 fields with missions, 78 buyable farmlands, a sawmill, a grain mill, 6 sell points with 9 outlets to sell crops, animal dealer, 2 bale sell points, water sources from small ponds, and this map includes a bevy of required mods. So let's take a rundown through those. In addition to the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps, that's additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. We're also going to be taking a look with Big Barn, Concrete Shed Pack, Cow Farm Pack, the English Barn Pack, the German Grain Mill, the Gothic Style Barn, Grain Shed Pack, Grain Storages Pack, Grain Storages Pack again, the Old Barn, and then the Silos 200 pack. Those are all of the required mods. Make sure you have those when you go to load up the map. I will tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you will find that all of the farms are built out exactly how you're going to see them here in new farm mode, with the exception you do not own the land, nor do you own any machinery. And when you load in the map for the very first time, you start here at the Kloss dealer in town. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. This is a standard size map. We do have all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22 available on this map for planting. If we take a look at our lands area, you'll see we start out by owning farmland 48. That is the main starting farm. We also own several other farmlands. Farmland 1, 14, 54, 56, 59, 65, 68, and there you go. This map does have a VGA. It is located just north of Farmland 56. And in addition to the main starting farm, there are other points of interest. Farmland 41 is where we're going to find all of the cow areas. There are 4 cow areas pre-placed on the map that can be bought for $261,500. In addition to that, we have lots of customizable building areas. We have an area here, 44, that has some farm buildings that we can buy on this particular plot of land. We cannot sell any of those farm buildings, but we can sell those on a couple other areas. We also have at area 57 and 58 a farm that we can buy here, and then this is basically like the farmhouse. In fact, there are several farmhouses pre-placed on the map. For example, we have one at 61, 72, 73, 78, 76, 75, 64, just to be a few examples of farmhouses that we could buy and have that are removed from our farm area. In addition, we have farm buildings placed at area 60, which is right here. Area 62, which is located right here. That's kind of a little bit of like a contractor yard. And 63 as well. In addition, we have some empty plots that are available to put down. We have 43. We have 45. It's located right there. And then we have 67 located over here. let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen is going to show us all of the buyable farmlands, how large those farmlands, if those farmlands include any field or fields, how much is included, and then ultimately how much is that farmland going to cost us. You can see overall that we've got some pretty decent sized farmlands here. 14 hectares, 10 hectares, and over. Those are going to be costing you a couple $100,000 to buy. We've got the smaller plots here that are going to be holding the buildable areas and the farmhouses that are fairly affordable. Taking a look at our field calculator screen, this is going to show us the actual sizes of each particular field. So we've got field 21, which is 25.97 hectares in size. That is going to be the largest field. Several fields in the 10 to 12 hectare range. Then several fields kind of in the 5 to 6 range as well. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how the soil map looks on Saxthorpe Farms. We are making use of the generic soil map for this map. But if we take a look at our crop calendar, we do have a custom crop calendar, and there are some important things to note. Do know that with this crop calendar, we cannot plant sugarcane or harvest sugarcane or cotton. And then if we go down here to our prices screen, you will find that we can sell most of our starting crops in Farm Sim 22, but we do not have the ability to sell grapes, olives, nor do we have the ability to sell sugarcane or cotton. Now, of course, sugarcane and cotton are excluded from the crop counter if we are playing with the crop counter enabled. Makes a little bit of sense why we couldn't sell sugarcane and cotton, but of course, we do have the option of turning off the crop counter, and if we do then do that, since we do have on the PDA, since sugarcane, cotton, grapes, and olives have not been excluded as crops available on the map itself, a player who has turned off the crop counter could potentially place grapes and olives, could potentially plant sugarcane and cotton, and then discover that they have no place to sell those. So we are not going to be giving the map a full point on the ability to sell all of our crops, base game, production items, and animal outputs, because in addition to grapes and olives, cotton, and sugarcane, we also do not have the ability to sell eggs, wool, or milk. Which is rather interesting because, as I said, we have 4 cow pastures pre-placed on the map that do have milk outputs. In addition, we do not have the ability to sell most of our production. But before that, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We do have the ability to sell our silage, hay, straw, and grass. We also have the ability to sell our flour, which is good because we have a grain mill pre-placed on the map. But we do not have the ability to sell bread, cakes, butter, cheese, fabric, clothes, sugar, honey, cereal. Now, we do have the ability to process our oils, sunflower oil, canola oil, and olive oil. So if we do put olives down, we could make oil out of it at the grain mill. But we do not have the ability to process our raisins, grapes, lettuce, strawberries, tomatoes, chocolate, planks. We have a sawmill, but we can take those planks and convert them into furniture if we put down our own carpentry shop, because we don't have one of those to sell our furniture. Now, in addition, we do not have the ability to buy bulk lime, nor do we have the ability to get rid of our stones if we do play with stones enabled. Now, we are not going to deduct as a result of not being able to do any of the platinum expansion items, but is something I do want to point out. We do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion items either. So overall, there are a lot of fill types that we are missing the ability of selling without putting our own sell point down. So we're going to be giving the map just half a point with respect to the ability to sell all of our base game crops, animal outputs, and production items. If you are playing with pumps and hoses enabled, then we do have the ability to sell our separated manure. We start out with a pretty small list of starting equipment. Most of it is well maintained. Our Agrimaz plow is a little under maintained there. And then we have our seeder and then our sprayer. Looks like it could use a little maintenance on that. As I said, we have 4 cow pastures pre-placed on the map. We do not start out with any cows. We do have contracts available. We do not own any of the 3 production chains at the start, and this map does not have any collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the Fendt Favorite 515C small tractor, and then for our medium tractors, we have the John Deere 7810 and the Massey Ferguson 3670. We have the Dukes Far Top Liner 4090H grain header, and that is going to be used with our harvester and our header trailer. We've got our Rudolph TDK 301 RA trailer, as well as our PO5 XL plow. We've got the Horse Torino 3FX cultivator, our KG 3001 Super Power Harrow. That is paired up then with the Senta 3000 Super Seeder. We have the Hardy Mega 1200L sprayer and front tank for our liquid fertilizer and herbicide. And then if we take a look at our mods and DLCs, you will see that we do not have any custom vehicles or implements that are included with the map. Now, before we jump over to the main starting farm, I do want to go into build mode because with the number of required mods that we do have for this map, there are quite a number of items that are in build mode as a result. We've got sheds from the cow farm pack, concrete shed pack, English barn pack, the old barn and Gothic style barn packs, grain storages pack, etc. Under silos, we have the silos pack. Got a silage bunker here from the map itself. Same goes for silo extensions, silos 200 mod pack. And then under our tools, we do have the gas station we can pre-place. And then under productions, we do have a custom flour mill that we can place down. That is located right here. As well as our sawmill. For animals, we have a bevy of cow areas that we can put down. Then we have fairly standard animal pens beyond that. Decoration items are fairly standard. And then we do have a fair number of ground textures. And some fairly common plant textures as well. Over here at the main starting farm, I kind of like this aesthetic. This kind of old, rustic type farm area. We've got a combination of buildings that we can and cannot sell. So these two sheds, they are permanently a part of the map. We do not have the ability to get rid of those. We also do not have the ability to get rid of the gate that is going to be here at the front entrance, or the gate that is also at the rear entrance. We do have the ability to sell the Gothic farm buildings, though. There would be one right here, and then one right there. We also have the ability to sell this grain storage shed. We have our silo. We have our dump and fill point. At least we cover the tarp, keep the rain out of there. Around the side, we have our farmhouse. Then here is another shed that we cannot sell. So on the main starting farm, there are 3 buildings that are permanently embedded on the map. We've got this one and the 2 over at the front entrance. Then here we have the back entrance. Like I said, I really like this overall aesthetic. Kind of starting out in a little bit of a rundown, kind of rustic type farm. And then I think, as you progress in your gameplay, you could move up and kind of upgrade things as you move along. And in addition, in here, we do have a couple big bags of fertilizer and a couple big bags of seed. Get a little bit of altitude and do a quick little spin. The rustic look kind of extends here just beside the main farm. We have that other building area, farmland ID 44. That is right there. Kind of across the street, if you will, from the starting area. And again, those buildings in this area are permanently a part of the map, but there is kind of some other area down here. Put an animal pen down, you could put some other buildings down. But there is so much to like on this map from a visual standpoint. It really is kind of depressing that we are missing the ability to sell so much as far as base crops and so much of the production. Here we have the flour mill. One of those buildable plots I mentioned that is kind of left open. So overall, the map, as I mentioned, has a BGA, a sawmill, and a grain mill. So we are going to be giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. We have both on this particular map. Here we have our animal dealer, as well as our bale sell point. We also have some nice animated cows down there. Just north of Field 38, we have another buildable area. It is empty. We're making our way now over to the large cow areas. As you can see, these are typical hedge-lined fields that you're going to find in the UK. The hedges that I have tested do not have collisions on them. So if you do want to drive through the hedges, well, you will indeed be able to. Now here we have the large cow area. There are 4 cow pens here. We've got 2 3-sided silage bunkers, lots of machine sheds, lots of bale storage here. Everything at this area can be sold with the exception of one thing, and that is going to be this large pull-through bale shed located right here. This is going to be permanently a part of the map, but all of the other buildings here in this area can be sold. We have a cow shed there, another cow shed there, and then over on the other side of this fence, we have 2 open cow pastures. Then the entire east part of the map is pretty much set up for agriculture. While the map is not flat, we have some subtle rolling hills. It's not overly hilly either, so it should be fairly well with respect to being able to play with machinery and tractors that are maybe a little underpowered for that machinery. We're not going to have to really goose up the horsepower here. Coming up to the BGA, we have 3 3-sided silage bunkers. We also have the BGA itself and a nice equipment shed. Now, I had just mentioned in a previous map video that we had seen lots of silage bunkers at the BGA that we cannot sell. This map, we can indeed get rid of these 3 silage bunkers if we wish to, and we can also sell the BGA if we own it. Now, that does not clear this entire area out. We are going to have some decorative items that are going to remain here, and then there is a root crop sell point also down here at the BGA that is going to remain. But if we wanted to, we could get rid of the 3 bunkers. We could get rid of the BGA itself. Make this another buildable area, build our own BGA, make this another farm area. Really kind of Bob's your uncle on what we might want to do with that. So we remain starting farm over there in that distance. We're going to come across the southern part of the map. Here we have kind of another buyable farm area. And those 2 sheds can be sold. We've got kind of a farmhouse, this white farmhouse in front of it. We can also buy the farmhouse here on the corner. Here we have another farm that is built out with a silo. Those buildings can also be sold. This particular farmhouse can be bought and used as a farmhouse if you put the sleep trigger down. It does not have a sleep trigger with it, as well as this house right here. Now, coming into town, there is a lot going on. We have our fuel point. We have behind it what I'm calling the potential contractor yard that you could buy. You can buy this little area here with an old Gothic barn. We have a bale sell point, a grain sell point. We have our sawmill, and then we have this plot right next to the sawmill that is open for placing of productions as well. And then we're going to make our way down to the extreme southeast corner of the map, and that's where we're going to find our starting point. That's where we're going to find our grain sell point. And then we have 2 more. Kind of this structure right here. This house and its companion right across the street. Those are also buyable plots of land. So if you wanted to buy those and make those your farmhouses, well, you could do that as well. So down here at the vehicle shop, we do have a nicely marked area for our dealer trigger. That is going to be right there. Here's our Fendt tractor and our harvester. And then we have our dealer trigger. Let's go ahead and pick up our Mahindra. I think we know where our vehicles are going to spawn at based on where the harvester and the header and the trailer are located. But we do indeed have confirmation as to where our starting vehicles are going to spawn in at. We've got a pretty large yard here for our vehicles to spawn, and a pretty decent exit to the dealership. So we shouldn't have too many issues with buying some decent sized machinery. And given the size of some of these fields, you're probably going to want to be playing with predominantly medium to medium large machinery. So right across the street from the vehicle dealer, we're going to find our first multiple grain sell points. Here we have Bay 1 and Bay 2. It's going to be very important to remember which bay you're getting which prices, so you know which one you want to drive through. And this particular sell point itself, well, this one is going to be named Saxthorpe Grain Limited Bay 1 and, of course, Bay 2. So here we have, as I said, we can kind of buy this house or this estate area over here. And then if we did, we could put down a sleep trigger, and these could be our farmhouse areas, kind of removed a bit from the farm, if that's what we wanted. We have lots of options there because we have lots of these little potential buyable areas where you can buy and put additional things down. Over here we have our fuel point. And then, as I mentioned, right behind our fuel point, we have what I'm kind of calling a potential contractor yard. A couple sheds. These are going to be permanently a part of the map, but they are here. They are usable if you buy the land. And then we have the Gothic barn right next to it. That is also buyable. As I said, there's so much to visually like about this map. It really is a little disappointing on the ultimate score that we're going to give it, because it does fall down a little bit in a couple areas. So here we have East Coast Grain, Bay 1 and Bay 2, as well as East Coast Bale Sell Point. Then we have East Coast Grain, Bay 3, on the other side of the building there. So we have Bay 1 and Bay 2, nicely marked. We have our Bale Sell Point. And then we have Bay 3 here on the back. Again, nicely marked. Very, very handy if you have a mission that says take it to Bay 2 at a particular sell point. Here we have the Sawmill. So we have our fill for wood chips. We have our sell point for wood chips and logs, I should say. We have our spawn point for our planks. Then we have the open buildable yard right across the street from that. Perfect. Maybe to put down a carpentry so we could then actually do something with the planks we produce, make furniture and sell those. I would say a great companion mod for this map would be the sell anything map or mod, because that way you could put that down at one of these areas, maybe build up one of these open plots. UK traffic. UK traffic. You can build up one of these buildable plots, if you will, in order to kind of expand on the ability to sell things. Making our way across the southern part of the map. Going to pass a couple of these kind of buyable potential farmhouses. Including this one coming up here at the corner. And then we have a potential farmyard here. We have a potential house that we could buy to be tied to that. We do have the ability to sell this barn. And then this farmland in behind it. And these buildings. And then down the street from this area, we have another potential farm that we could buy. That is right here. There's some nice sheds. I really like the texturing on the ground here. Cracked up concrete. Then we have our silo or dump and fill. Some more storage sheds. So as far as our scoring goes, we're giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. In addition, we're going to be giving the map a half a point with respect to the ability to sell crops, base game animal outputs, and production items that are included in the base game, because again we are missing the ability to sell so many inputs. To run that down list, we have grapes, olives, cotton, sugarcane, eggs, wool, milk, bread, cakes, butter, cheese, fabric, clothes, sugar, honey, cereal, raisins, grapes, lettuce, tomatoes, strawberries, chocolate, planks, and then stones is added onto that. So a half a point there as well. Here we have our BGA. We have a root crop sell point. We have three-sided silage bunkers that we can indeed clear out if we want to. A nice equipment building. Store our BGA equipment. And then we have the BGA itself. So we have the pickup point there for our digestate. There's drop-off point for our slurry. We have our interactive trigger. We have our digester. And we can sell the BGA if we own it. So we go from not being able to sell a lot of crops and production items to having that flexibility of selling in the BGA and those three bunkers. With respect to can the farms be customizable, we're going to give the map 3/4 of a point there. There are so many cool little areas. This could be a really interesting kind of a multiplayer map for a small number of players. And you've got lots of different choices on starting areas. Lots of different choices if you are going to play solo and you do a farm manager or start from scratch. Lots of areas for you to potentially play your farm at. And kind of a combination of areas that you can and can't fully sell. So again, we're going to be giving the map just 3/4 of a point there. Down this road, we're going to find our main starting farm. says Saxthorpe Grain as well. So here we have the gate to our starting farm. And here we are at our grain sell point, Saxthorpe Grain, Bay 1 and Bay 2. Once again, very well marked. Now, with respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texture technique, we've got a combination of buildings that are and are not. So I'm going to be giving the map a half a point there. Over here on the left, we have the entrance to that other kind of potential farm area. I really do dig this kind of rustic start at a lot of these farm areas. Very well done ground texturing. Little pools of water here and there. Artistically very well done. We're going to skip the grain here just for a brief moment because I wanted to comment on the roundabout here. Great way of kind of flipping traffic around on this roundabout. Now, it would have been nice, right? It would have been real nice if we could use that, but that's technically out of map boundary. There is kind of the boundary wall right here they're going to run into. We don't have the red X's to pop up. That is out of bounds. And then we have a sell point and a production point here. So this is going to be Green Tower Grain Bay 1. And this is, or should be, our grain mill. But what I'm not finding anywhere is where to buy that. So if we come here and we take a look at our production, we have the German grain mill, right? That is that building. And we got our trigger here at the front. And we should have pallets on the side. And we should have a buy point here on the left where the stairs are. But it's not coming up. And if we look at the PDA, just want to make sure everything is picked here. It is indeed. We just toggle these. The only two things that are changing is our Sawmill and our BGA. But if we do a listing here of our productions, biogas plant and timber, but if I do a listing here from the dev command, we do have a grain mill listed. Owner 15. And owner 15 typically implies we have to own the land. So let's do that. And now, indeed, there you go. Now, indeed, we have the pop-up point for our pallets. We have our sell point, and we have our interactive point. It's a little tricky there. Wheat, barley, oat, and sorghum flour are all going to be made here. So if you are looking for the flour mill that I do mention that you do have access to, it is something that you will have to buy the land in order to get full access to, because it did have in the dev console that Farmer 15 owned that, and when Farmer 15 owns something, that means that you have to buy the land in order to take advantage of that. Now we need to make our way up to our animal dealer, and then that is pretty much going to call it for the end of the video. So with respect to buildings where appropriate are using new texture technique, as we mentioned, we're going to give the map a half point there. And trigger and interactive areas are clearly marked. I'm going to give the map a full point. I do feel that the sell points are very clearly marked. The production point, once we bought the land, that as well is very clearly marked. So overall, it's going to give the map a score of 3.75 out of 5. We lost a lot of points with respect to, a lot of points were left on the board, I should say, with respect to all of those productions that we can't sell with as many sell points as this map has. It would have been nice to have seen. It would have been nice to have seen, right, the ability to sell all of the standard stuff at a minimum, because we just have so many sell points. For example, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sell points listed that are going to take soybeans. So we do have animated animals here. It's a nice aesthetic. We have our animal trigger. Then we have our bale cell trigger. I guess we can't wrap up quite yet. We still have to go. Over to these cow areas. What am I doing? So let's head on over there. See if this will take us where we want to go. Like I said, you know, there is so much to like about this map. So many design aesthetics, design principles, you know, like this rough road, the texturing in the road, you know, the rustic starting farm areas. It's just, there's a few things from an execution standpoint on the map based on how we arbitrarily assign a number value to a map. Does that ultimately affect your personal enjoyment of this map? Maybe not. And if that's the fact, that's all totally fine. Totally fine. Our scoring metrics are an objective way of benchmarking one map to another against a standard core set of scoring principles. And if you don't care that you can't sell sugar beets, fine. You can't sell sugar beets. Sugar cane, it's fine. If you don't care that you can sell grapes, that's fine. If you don't care that you can't sell the milk that your cows produce up here in the cow pens without putting something down, that's fine. So here we have this large cow area. As I mentioned, we have 2 three-sided silage bunkers. They can be sold. We've got some nice buildings here, store machinery, bales, and such. Then we have 2 cow areas that are sheds. One that'll hold 300. Then we have our food and straw. We have our slurry and manure point right here. There's our slurry point. And then our milk trigger for this particular facility is located right here. Then we move down to the next cow pen. 200 cows in here. We have our food and straw, our manure, our slurry. And then around the same side, we have then our milk. Got a nice large bale shed. Then through the gate, we have 2 open cow pastures. 150 cows in each. Then we have our water, our food, and our milk trigger for this cow pasture. Another 150 cows, as I mentioned. Water, food, and milk. So we've got 300 cows out here, 500 cows inside of this facility. So you could have a total of 800 cows on the farm located right here. Or if you wanted to, you'd sell all of these buildings except that one right there and do whatever else you want here because you have that flexibility. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below of Saxthorpe Farms. Is this going to be one of your next playthroughs? And if so, maybe which area are you going to start out with? Are you going to go whole hog? Maybe kind of put down a big cow pen or big pig area as opposed to all of these cows? Or are you going to go all in on the beef cattle? Because again, you're going to need to put down a sell point or something in order to process that milk if you are going to go with dairy. And until next time, happy farming.